Today on TriCrow Studios, we combine the aux amp top box with the Kahayan 8x4 MIDI Selector. So before we get started here, if you look to the side of me, you will see a list of things we're going to cover as well as timestamps in case you want to jump to different sections of the video. It's going to help you navigate to get where you want to answer the questions that you want. But I do highly suggest watching the full video of this to ensure that everything is set up properly and you're not going to damage anything in your unit. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is ensuring that you're using the proper cables for the job. We have two different cables that look very similar but work very differently and are very important. We have an instrument cable and we have a speaker cable. Our instrument cable is a shielded cable that allows for no electronic magnetic interference to come through in your sound and make unwanted noise that you don't want. You want a clean rig. Do not put a speaker cable in front of your amplifier because these are not shielded and it will cause for excess noise to go through to the front of your amp. Moving on, these cables should only be used to plug into the front of your amp or plug into your guitar or plug in from the unit to a tuner. These being used at the back of your amplifier will cause many issues. They are not made to carry the low impedance signal that goes from your amplifier to a speaker, and because of that it will heat up and it can damage the transformer. It can really mess up the internals of your amplifier. It will mess up the aux, it will mess up the 8x4, and it can really mess up your speakers or blow your speakers. You don't want that. Don't do it. You need to use a speaker cable in that instance because these are made to carry the low impedance signal. Do not mix these up. Make sure that you put them in the right spots. So anything that goes into the front of an amplifier, this cord's going to go into, or into a pedal or from your guitar. This is the cord you're going to use, which is your instrument cable. Anything that goes from the back of the amplifier to a speaker, this is what you're going to use. So you're going to be using this for anything to do with the aux. First, we have our instrument input. Now, our instrument input is where we're going to plug our guitar or instrument into. Next, we have our 2 amp in is where we're going to connect to the front of our amplifiers and the input jack that we would normally plug our guitar into. From amp output jacks, this is where we're going to plug the back of our amplifier into. Next, we have our 4 speaker input jacks. This is what we connect to the speaker cabinet with a speaker cable. So now that you have the Kahayan MIDI 8x4 MIDI Selector all set up, ensure that when you're plugging into the back of your amplifier for the impedance that you find the commonality between every one of your amps and plug into the exact same impedance, being 4 ohms, 8 ohms, or 16 ohms, and then ensure that you remember that number because you're going to need it for the back of the aux. Also, ensure that your amplifiers do not exceed 150 watts RMS. This can damage the unit. You do not want to do that. So ensure that you read the manual or look at the back of your amplifier to see how much the RMS is on that amplifier. Moving on now, let's look at the back of the aux. So now we're going to ensure that all of our amplifiers are turned off, our aux amp top box is turned off, as well as the Kahayan unit. Looking at the back of the unit, we have 2 connections we have to make with speaker cables, one being from the red from amplifier jack into the 8x4's insert amp bus send, the other connection being from the black speaker jack into the insert amp bus return jack. Once you have done that, you can turn your aux on now, wait till the green light comes on, turn your amplifiers on, and then you can finally turn on your Kahayan 8x4 MIDI Selector unit. This is the way you need to turn this unit on every single time you use this unit. It's very important to turn on the attenuator before you turn on anything else. So when you go to turn this unit off, you're going to turn off the Kahayan selector, the amplifiers, then the aux top box. When you're turning the unit on, you're going to turn on the aux, the amplifiers, then the unit. Do not mix up that order. That's the order you need to use to ensure that you're not going to hurt any of your amplifiers or the aux or the unit. So now I want to talk about the benefits, and I mean major benefits, of being able to combine the aux with the 8x4 MIDI selector. The fact that, number one, I never have to unplug or plug in anything ever again with regards to my amplifiers in the aux is mind-blowing and surreal for me. I couldn't tell you, and I only imagine how many other guys out there could tell you how much time they've wasted on unplugging and plugging in different amplifiers and different cabinets into attenuators over and over and over and over again. The fact that everything's set up and every amplifier now, because of the insert amp bus, is going through the aux into whatever cabinet you select is incredible. Moving on from there, the fact that it's hooked up to the aux and the aux is an attenuator, now I can really push my amplifiers to that breaking point that everybody loves, but I don't have to have that volume because I can turn it down with the attenuator. That is a huge plus for anybody that has a house, apartment, just cannot have that loudness. This is going to save you for sure, no matter what amplifier you pick. Number three, the fact that I can hook up the aux to my DAW via line output, optical in, or SPDIF. Now, not only do I have 4 cabinets I can pick through that are already selected into my unit, I have an abundance of microphones and cabinets through the aux app, which is endless. So if I don't want to have any sound going through my speaker, I can turn the attenuator all the way down, still have that breakup sound that I want, plug into the app, pick whatever cabinet I want, microphones, still have that sound. Absolutely incredible. As well, the aux also has a headphone input for absolute silent, just playing if you don't want to record. You plug into that and listen to the beautiful sound that your amp can make. So I hope in the end, with this video being as long as it is, I hope I'm able to you distinguish if this is what you want to do, this is the product that's right for you or not. I highly, highly suggest it for anybody that's a serious musician that has more than one cabinet or more than one amplifier, or any studio producer. This is going to change your life, I promise you. Until next time, I'm Kevin of TriCrow Studios. Take care.